Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, in this video, we are going to learn about the chapter Globe, Latitudes and Longitudes. See, this is the globe and we called it as a true model of the earth. Globes can be big as well as small. And on this globe, you can see the earth is flattened at the poles, that is, North Pole and South Pole. And this earth is bulged out in the center. Most important is the study of imaginary lines that are drawn on the surface of the globe, and we use them to find the exact location of places. See, students, this is the axis of the earth, and this axis of the earth is an imaginary line which is inclined at an angle of 66 half degree. Now see, here are the set of lines. The lines that are drawn here from east to west are called as parallels of latitude, and the lines that you see here which are drawn from north to south, we call them as meridians of longitude. And now see here the same set of lines like the lines of latitude and longitude cut each other at right angles. It seems like a crisscross form of lines, and this crisscrossing of lines forms a pattern known as the grid, and we called it as a grid system. See here we have lines of latitude and we call them as the parallels of latitude. All the parallels of latitude run in an east-west direction. There are 180 parallels of latitude, and each parallel of latitude is a circle, and equator is the largest among them. And this equator divides the earth into two equal hemispheres. One of the hemisphere is the northern hemisphere and another hemisphere is the southern. From equator to north pole we have 90 latitudes, and from equator towards the south pole we have 90 latitudes. It means together we have 180 lines of latitude, also called as parallels of latitude. Now you see here, besides this equator, north pole, the south pole, there are four important parallels of latitude. Here you see the Arctic Circle and Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, and Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere. These latitudes are very important for us to understand the heat zones of the earth. We have three heat zones of the earth: torrid zone, temperate zone, and frigid zone. See here, this is a torrid zone, the hottest zone of the earth that lies between the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere to the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. This zone receives the vertical rays of the sun throughout the year, and this is called as the hottest zone of the earth. Now see, this is the temperate zone, and it lies between the Tropic of Cancer in Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere and between the Tropic of Capricorn to Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere. This zone is also called as moderate zone, as this zone receives the slanting rays of the sun. This is third zone, frigid zone. It lies between the Arctic Circle to the North Pole in the northern hemisphere and between the Antarctic Circle to South Pole in the southern hemisphere. This region remains very cold throughout the year as it receives the less slanting rays of the sun. Up to this, it was all about the latitudinal lines. Now we have the longitudes, and these longitudes are also called as meridians of longitude. These are the north-south lines that run from the North Pole to the South Pole. Unlike latitudes and latitudes, we say longitudes are the semicircles of equal length. And 0 degree longitude is called as the prime meridian. And this prime meridian, it divides the earth into two hemispheres. As you know, the equator divides the earth into northern and southern hemisphere, but here in longitudes, the longest longitude is the prime meridian, and this prime meridian divides the earth into eastern and western hemisphere. We have 360 lines of longitude, like 180 longitudinal lines from eastern hemisphere and 180 these longitudinal lines from western hemisphere. So together we have 360 lines of longitude, and these lines of longitude help us to understand time. As we all know that Earth is a sphere and rotates on its axis. So the Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation, that is to cover 360 longitudes. In 1 hour, it will cover 15 longitudes, or we say that it takes 4 minutes to cover 1 degree of longitude. And in order to avoid the confusion in time, it has been accepted by all countries of the world to refer to the local time, which is given on 0 degree longitude, or we call that as the prime meridian, and that's also called as Greenwich Mean Time. This Greenwich is a place near London through which 0 degree longitude passes. And this Greenwich Mean Time has been decided as the reference for World Standard Time. When it is 12 noon at Greenwich, the time at 15 degree east of Greenwich will be 1 p.m. And at 15 degree west of the prime meridian, it will be behind Greenwich Mean Time by an hour. That is, it will be 11 a.m. Similarly, it will be midnight at 180 degree longitude when it is 12 noon at Greenwich. Here is the difference between the prime meridian and international date line. This vertical imaginary line is called as the prime meridian, and it is at 0 degree longitude. And its twin line of longitude, that is opposite to the prime meridian at 180 degree, divides the earth into the eastern and western hemisphere. And this opposite meridian, which is at 180 degree, is called as the international date line. So the longitude which is at 0 degree is called as prime meridian, and the longitude which is at 180 degree is called as the international date line. When one crosses this line, one has to adjust the date. Now, see here, this is the standard time of India. There is a great variation in time within a country with a large east west extent, because India extends from 67 degree east to 97 degree east. And imagine how difficult it would be to make railway and flight timetables. Every country therefore chooses a central meridian whose local time is used across the country. In the same way, in India, 82 half degree east is taken as a standard meridian. This passes through the central India, approximately through Allahabad, and we call it as the Indian Standard Time. Dear children, do you know countries with a great east-west extent adapt to more than one standard time? Like in USA, there are 4 time zones, and in Russia, there are 11 time zones. So the world is divided into 24 standard time zones. So with this, we are done with the chapter. Alhamdulillah.